I'm McGovern, and I'm up here at the Left Forum in New York City, and we're doing a panel on Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Julian, as you know, has been sort of ostracized and hermetically sealed off from the rest of the world, no doubt because the United States has leaned very hard on the Ecuadorian government to keep him away from the microphone or even the keyboard. And I thought that I'd just like to throw a little light on something that Bill Binney, who used to be technical director of the NSA, Ed Loomis, also a former technical director of the NSA, and I and a few other people have come at. This has to do with the so-called Russian hack, which we have been able to prove using forensics as well as NSA colleagues' detailed knowledge of the capabilities of their systems. We've been able to prove that that's a hoax. Now, why is it the United States government hates Julian Assange? Well, they hate him for telling the truth. Has Julian spread any lies? No. Any fake news? No. Everything he said is documentary. As a matter of fact, he got a left-handed compliment from the FBI, the NSA, and the CIA in their famous document of 6 January 2017, where they said, you know, WikiLeaks has a reputation of not changing anything, not editing anything, and that's why they're a resort for people who want to use WikiLeaks. Now, what really happened here? It's kind of a short story, really. The so-called Russian hack of the Democratic National Committee computers was not a Russian hack at all. We know what it was. It was a copy onto an external storage device, most commonly a thumb drive, and that kind of thing was used to, quote, prove by use of formats from the Russian equivalent of MS Word, prove that the Russians did it. Now, how do we know that the Russians didn't do it? We know who did it. It was the CIA. That news to you? Are you surprised? Let me explain. In March, there was a leak that Julian Assange and WikiLeaks exposed. It was a leak based on a contractor for the CIA who was appalled at the offensive cyber tools that the CIA had developed in connection with NSA. Now, my friend Bill Binney, who was the technical director of NSA, tells me that Vault 7, this system, contains 700 million lines of code. And I said, Bill, that sounds like a lot. He says, well, yeah, Ray. A line of code costs 25 bucks. Can you do math? Okay, that's how much. That's how expensive this system was. Now, in March, on the 7th, is when Julian first divulged this, and he said that this treasure trove of information leaked to him by someone working for the CIA was of equal significance to all the stuff that Ed Snowden brought out into Hong Kong. That's big. If it's equal to that, that's very big. What were these tools? Well, the first tool revealed was one that took control of your car and made it go 100 miles an hour and your brakes didn't work. People get killed that way. Neat tool. Another tool was to leave a system in a Korean TV where you think it's off, but it's really recording everything that goes on in your bedroom or your living room or wherever. Now, on March 31st, there was another tool. This was part 3 of Vault 7. Vault 7 is the name that was given to this treasure trove of documents. Pristine, pure documents. No one disputes their authenticity. What did this do? Well, this allows an agency to hack into a computer system or server, disguise who hacked in, and leave little telltale signs behind showing that it was someone other than who really hacked in. Now, what languages they work in? Well, this was the CIA Digital Innovation Directorate. DID, okay? did it, okay? What did they do? They hacked in. Now, they hacked in and they left these telltale signs in Russian. We know they worked in 5 languages: Chinese, Russian, Arabic, Persian, and Korean. And then they left the name of the first head of the Soviet secret police, Felix Erbunovich, his name and patronymic. And so this was supposed to persuade American people that it was the Russians that hacked in. Well, it wasn't the Russians. It was this incredible program. This part was called Marble Framework, okay? Now, are we as sure that John Brennan and the CIA were responsible for that as we are that it was not the Russians that hacked in? No, we have forensic evidence, and we have the long experience of technical directors from the NSA, former, who proved that it was not a hack, but was rather copy onto a external storage device. But this just makes real good sense, and you know, we have no other than Vladimir Putin hinting that he knows all about this. Now, I don't know, we don't know if he mentioned this to President Trump, but we do know that he mentioned it to Megyn Kelly, who kind of didn't know what to make of it, and so went on to the next question that was prepared for her to ask. This is what Vladimir Putin said. Today's technology enables disclosures, and Putin pointed out to today's hacking could be, quote, masked and camouflaged to an extent that no one can understand the origin of the hack, and vice versa. It is possible to set up any entity or any individual that everyone will think that they were the exact source of the attack. Think back to leaving telltale signs, okay? Vault 7, Marble Framework. Putin continued, hackers may be anywhere, he said. There may be hackers, by the way, in the United States, who very craftily and professionally passed the buck to Russia. Can you imagine such a scenario? I can. So what we have here in the beginning of Russiagate was a total hoax based on Russian hacking into our election. Now, I'd just like to take 2 steps back and draw on my experiences as one who has watched Soviet and Russian leaders for 55 years now, okay, professionally, and then since then very closely. I could just see Putin sitting around the table during the campaign of 2016 with his advisors, and he's watching Donald Trump campaign, and he's saying, my God, oh wow, this guy's unpredictable. He brags at being unpredictable, and you know, he lashes out at the slightest offense or any slight. This is just the kind of guy that I hope will be president with his fingers on the nuclear codes. This is going to be real fun. Right? Wrong. The thing that the Soviet and the Russian leaders fear the most is an unpredictable, a irascible, a Trump, okay? And so it boggles the mind that Putin would have said, oh man, this is going to be fun. I want this guy to be president across the ocean, and do all you can to help him win. Doesn't parse. The other part, taking a couple of steps back, is that Hillary Clinton was a sure winner, right? Everyone thought Hillary Clinton was a shoo-in. Now, unless you expect that Vladimir Putin is clairvoyant, or that he had some sort of special insight, he too must have thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. So what percentage is there? If Clinton's going to win, what's the percentage of hacking into the Democratic National Committee and incurring even more wrath from the already irascible Mrs. Clinton? Doesn't make any sense at all. So we smelled a rat as soon as all this came out. What really happened, we are convinced, is that back before June 12th, when Julian Assange announced that he had emails relating to Hillary Clinton and they were about to be published, June 12th, 2016, before then, someone downloaded, copied onto an external storage device, you know, a thumb drive, all the DCN the DNC emails and gave them to Julian Assange. We don't know exactly how that happened, but you know what else? Neither did President Obama. People don't know this, but on the 18th of January 2017, just a couple hours before he left for vacation, he had a press conference, and what he said was, quote, the conclusions of the intelligence community with respect to how WikiLeaks got these hacks from Russia are inconclusive. Hello? Inconclusive conclusions? Now, why would Obama admit that? Well, he's a lawyer. He wants to protect his rear end. And there was no established link between the hack, so to speak, which wasn't a hack, and Julian Assange. So if you can't prove this link, what do you have? Well, you have a lot of assessments. You have the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI assessing that this happened with no evidence at all. So why does the CIA, the US government, hate Julian Assange to the degree that they will lean all over this small country, Ecuador, and make Julian Assange incommunicado? Well, it's very simple. He released the family jewels. Vault 7 is full of family jewels. As I mentioned before, Bill Binney tells me 700 million lines of code. If I didn't say this before, the way he helped me figure it out, $25 a line, that's a lot of money. Who helped the CIA? A Digital Information or Digital Innovation Division, brand new under John Brennan, 2015. NSA, of course. Bill Binney knew that because he was around when they started this cooperation. So what does this mean? It means that when Julian Assange advertised the fact that he had material from this leak, not hack, but from this leak from someone working for the CIA, this is very embarrassing. Not only was it embarrassing to security of the CIA, NSA, CIA can't protect their secrets, but this was volatile information. It showed that far from the Russians hacking into the DNC, it was most likely John Brennan and this Digital Innovation Directorate that John Brennan set up to tap NSA expertise and hack in and blame it on the Russians. Now, what happened after Vault 7, Part 3, this Marble framework tool was released? This is the hacking tool. Well, 13 days later, the head of the CIA, Mike Pompeo, got up at a think tank and said, Julian Assange is running a non-state hostile intelligence agency. Non-state hostile intelligence agency, and we're going to get him. We have people in the Justice Department crying out for seizing him and arresting him. They've prevailed on the Ecuadorians to keep him incognito, to keep him incommunicado, and this is an embarrassment to everyone who stands for a free media. What Julian Assange is doing, of course, is trying to be a journalist in times that are so parlous that the only true information is to be available from leakers, from people who see inside stories and say, this is beyond the pale. The CIA should not be taking control of the computers of cars and making them go 100 miles an hour. That happened, by the way, with Mike Hastings. They shouldn't be monitoring bedroom conversations through TVs, and they certainly shouldn't be hacking into emails or servers and blaming it on someone else, whether the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, the Arabs, or the Koreans. So we hope to go into that a little bit here at the Left Forum, because it's not something well known, and you won't find it in the New York Times. Last thing I'll say is that when this treasure trove, Vault 7, was released in early March, what we had was reportage by this New York Times and the other mainstream media, which said, oh, wow, taking control of a car. Whoa, wow, listening to everyone on your TV that you thought was turned off. That's something. But when they came to Marble Framework, that was it. The Times, no doubt, went to the CIA and said, should we publish that? They said, no, you don't publish that. And so not a word of this very, very intrusive device, which we think, and Bill Binney agrees with me on this, was actually the source of the so-called Russian hack, disguised as a Russian hack, but really the work of the Digital Innovation Directorate of the Central Intelligence Agency. So we hope to expose that, because when you expose these things to light, good things happen. And you know, there's old scripture verse that nothing shall remain secret. What we're trying to do is make people aware of this and aware of the fact that Julian Assange unjustifiably suffers mightily for telling the truth. Thanks very much.